It's an interesting world we live in right now, isn't it? Everybody's struggling, people who've never struggled before. During this time, 37 million Americans are wondering how they're going to put food on the table for their families tomorrow. That's 1 in 7 children and 1 in 12 seniors. Hunger does not have a face. And with statistics like those, it's likely that somebody you know or somebody you're close to is struggling with food insecurity. As somebody who's volunteered with the community, as well as had a career as a social worker, I've seen firsthand the need that West Michigan has for food assistance. And that was before a pandemic. The issue has only gotten worse. With millions of people struggling together to get through this crisis, we can come together as a community to help get over this hump. I'd like to show you how important this is and how severe this is here in West Michigan. I'll share with you an organization that's doing their best to combat hunger for children, and I'll also let you know some things that you can do to help this organization. According to the USDA's latest release of Household Food Insecurity in the United States report, 35 million people struggled in the United States to put food on the table. That increased to 36 million in the beginning of 2020 and is only increasing as more businesses shut down and layoffs happen. The USDA defines food insecurity as the lack of access to healthy food to sustain an active and healthy lifestyle for each person in your household. Not every family who faces food insecurity is always food insecure. Many things happen to families who are generally financially stable that cause them to fall into this category. What food insecurity is, on a layman's kind of explanation, is that when a family has to pick between paying their bills and putting food on the table, then they're food insecure. The number of things that working families face, like hospital bills, unknown car fixes, unknown layoffs, could always result in food insecurity. West Michigan food banks report that over 70,000 people just here in Kent County need food assistance. And of those 70,000 people, 27% don't qualify for programs like SNAP or WIC. That's a shortfall of almost $37 million in Kent County for local food assistance that we need to make up. Why don't we have enough food to feed every person in the United States? The problem is we do have enough food to feed everybody here. But we throw away 72 billion pounds of food waste each year. Perfectly edible food we throw right in the garbage, while there are 1 in 7 children struggling to find food. That doesn't make any sense. 25 to 40% of food grown here in the U.S. that's transported, grown, we use water to make it, we get it to restaurants, will just get thrown right in the landfill. 25 to 40% of that food will be thrown in the garbage. With that many people facing food insecurity, there's no excuse for 72 billion pounds of food to be thrown to waste. In 2018, Michigan ranked number 13 in the United States for residents who suffered from food insecurity. That was about 13.6%. In 2020, Michigan has jumped to number 6. That is a 73% increase just for children in Michigan. Not having access to good food can be devastating to a child's development. There's serious implications that are both physical and mental. Academic achievement and future economic prosperity are greatly jeopardized. There's an association between food insecurity and delayed development, according to the United States the West Michigan Food Bank website. Chronic illnesses, asthma, anemia, hyperactivity, anxiety, and aggression are some things that they have found in children who did not have access to clean food. Luckily, there's something we can do to help these people. These people could easily become you or me in a day or two. Feeding America is the world's largest domestic hunger relief organization, and it has a network of over 200 food banks that are working to lower these numbers. What Feeding America does is they use donations from businesses, government organizations, and community members to distribute healthy food to the communities around you. They serve every community in Michigan, and they have food banks in 48 of the 80 counties here in our state. There's 40 million people, 12 million children, and 7 million seniors who currently use Feeding America's services. They partner with manufacturers and grocery stores, restaurants, and farmers to prevent and reallocate that food waste away from the landfills. The top 3 contributors to the food banks are farms, manufacturers, and consumer-facing businesses. These are things like grocery stores and restaurants. Rescuing food means that we can feed families, protect our planet, and conserve and reuse the resources we already have. Redirecting that food waste reduces 72 billion pounds of food waste that we're throwing away. That's 21% of all of the consumer waste in landfills. According to their website, Feeding America also created something called Meal Connect, where local restaurants and grocery stores can connect with local food banks to let them know that they have food readily available to be picked up. Then those food banks go to the restaurants that day to pick up food that may be left over from the day. Feeding America also offers different types of educational programs, like community-specific programs to meet the changing needs of the people that they help, programs that help families manage their relationship with food and health, and they show food-related ways to help keep children healthy and make good choices. And they show families how to create and stick to a budget in regard to food. According to an article from feedwestmichigan.org, Feeding America helps provide food to students here right in West Michigan as well. A smaller offshoot of Feeding America called Hand to Hand, that is here in Holland where I live, gives over 500 meals to students each week in Holland public area schools. They deliver these meal boxes to schools where teachers discreetly put them in the lockers of each of the students for them to bring home for food for the weekend. Since school's been out, those volunteers have taken that food directly to those students' homes. Everything used for these hand-to-hand programs in Holland are sourced through Feeding America food banks. When you donate to an organization like Feeding America, you know that your money and time are being put to good use. Feeding America is accredited by the Better Business Bureau and received a 4-star rating from Charity Navigator, which is America's premier independent charity evaluation resource. Only 11 other charities have received this 4-star review, and Feeding America has done it 5 years in a row now. All of the money that is raised goes directly to people in your community that are struggling to put food on the table. And according to the public annual reports on the Feeding America website, 97% of funds that are given to the organization are spent directly on that community. Everybody deserves to start life at the same line. All children deserve a fair start. We can help break the cycle of poor nutrition that leads to chronic disease, and impaired development in children by Feeding America. We can nourish the community by helping them eat fresh food. We can empower them through education and resources. And we can encourage our neighbors to form healthy eating habits. The causes for food insecurity are numerous. You can't pick one cause and make that the problem. But nobody in our community should ever be deprived of the basic necessities of clean, fresh, and healthy food. To achieve this goal, Feeding America needs help from people like you and I. 1 in 7 children in our community need help from people like you and I. With 1 in 7 children lacking access to nutritious food, we need to work with Feeding America to reduce that number by redirecting that 78 billion pounds of fresh food from the landfills to those families. But how are we going to do that? Children face an uphill battle when it comes to food resources. Children are innocent. It's not their fault that they can't find food or that their parents can't provide food. So this is what we're going to do. You can start by fundraising. There's different ways to fundraise. You can engage your community by starting fun social media challenges like ice bucket challenges, or you can donate to an organization that's already raising funds for Feeding America. You can allocate funds in honor of a loved one, or you can start a team fundraiser like with your coworkers. If fundraising isn't for you, you could always volunteer for the organization. In 1 hour, you can distribute over 200 meals to the families that are in need. You can bond with your youth group, your coworkers, things like that, family, friends. And other ways to volunteer can be found on the feedingamerica.org website. Some of the ideas for volunteering are repacking and sorting foods at the distribution warehouse, gleaning the fields where you go in and pick the leftover produce of the local farms, or clerical work. If you are good at bookkeeping or guest reception, they could use your help as well. Or you can put your feet on the floor and get out there and hand out those meals right to the people yourself. Why do millions of people in America not know where their food is coming from? It's impossible to put a face to hunger in our community. And with 70,000 people in Kent County wondering how they're going to feed their families, likely someone you know is struggling and battling food insecurity. Feeding America is working to make sure that not another child, parent, or senior has to struggle because they're hungry. With $28 billion worth of food being thrown in landfills, there's no reason that we can't make sure everybody in the U.S. knows how they're going to eat tomorrow.